If the internet's right, one secret stack of medical bills just detonated a $200 million love story, and nobody's admitting it. We're about to break down the alleged $2.3 million makeover list, the hush-hush clinic flights, and the exact moment the timeline stops matching the headlines. Give me a few minutes to follow the money against the calendar, then you decide if this story survives. Let's start with the rumor the algorithm keeps feeding you. The story goes like this. A carefully hidden ledger proves a years-long transformation, fine-tuned to build the perfect billionaire wife. The number at the bottom is big enough to make even the ultra-rich blink. The accusations say the work wasn't random. It was strategic. It was sequenced. It was designed. The twist that spikes the dopamine? When the supposed medical bills finally crossed a line, the relationship cracked. That's a clean arc. A tidy villain. A perfect thumbnail. But clean arcs love to erase messy details. And this story has a lot of messy details. So here's how we're doing this. No sermons, no slow lectures. We run a simple stress test. First, we track the money claim, $2.3 million over a few years, and ask what that actually looks like in real life. Second, we map the dates, milestones, sightings, headlines, a wedding, the travel, and see if the alleged blow-up lines up with real-world events. Third, we check the motive the rumor assumes. Did this transformation supposedly happen for love, for status, or for the brand? Then we see what still stands when the hype wears off. That's it. 3 passes. If it still looks solid, we talk about consequences. If it falls apart, we talk about why we all wanted it to be true in the first place. First pass, the money claim. $2.3 million sounds outrageous until you zoom out on the celebrity beauty economy. Treatments stack. Small things add up. Maintenance becomes a subscription. Even regular people know the drill. Skin, hair, teeth, gym, wellness, repeat. In the luxury lane, that scaling goes exponential. Private clinics, elite surgeons, concierge nurses, post-operative retreats, stem cell add-ons, lasers you've never heard of. Travel in and out under the radar. If you want a headline that tastes like scandal, you don't say maintenance. You say reconstruction. You don't say routine costs. You say medical bills. The language does the heavy lifting. Suddenly a lifestyle becomes a ledger that looks like a confession. But here's the part the rumor hopes you won't notice. The supposed ledger always lives in the shadows. It's never a PDF anyone can open. It's never a court exhibit. It's never a public claim with receipts attached. It's sources say, insiders whisper, banker friends hint. Whenever someone offers a number this precise with this little paper behind it, you should hear a bell ringing in the back of your mind. Does that mean it's impossible? No, it means the burden of proof is heavy. And when the proof is light, the timeline has to do the work. Second pass, the calendar. For a marriage to implode under the weight of a cosmetic plan, the visible story should show a slow freeze. Less time together, neutral body language, delays on big commitments, soft launch problems that turn into hard launch disasters. Instead, the public montage most people saw was the exact opposite. Events together, a ring that stopped traffic, a wedding weekend that looked like a fashion film, and a sky-high life threaded with aviation and space headlines. Ask yourself, is that what a relationship looks like when it's secretly crumbling under medical bills? Not impossible. But the arc doesn't bend the way the rumor says it does. If the ending is supposed to be ruined, you should see smoke before the fire. On the calendar, you don't. Third pass, the motive. The claim insists the transformation was a strategy to become the perfect billionaire's wife. That's a powerful phrase because it carries 2 triggers at once: envy and suspicion. Envy says, of course they can afford anything. Suspicion says, why would anyone want that much? Put them together and any change looks like a scheme. But motives are slippery. Anyone in the top 1% of visibility club is playing 3 games at once. The personal game, how you feel in the mirror. The brand game, how the camera reads you at 5 different angles. And the power game, how your image opens doors, rooms, and deals. When people conflate those 3 into a single conspiracy, they miss the way image management is baked into modern celebrity life. You can call that a problem with fame. You can call it the price of access. But calling it a smoking gun for heartbreak is a leap unless the dates and behavior back it up. Let's talk optics, because optics is where stories like this are born. Transformation sells, comparison sells. The before-after split screen is the most addictive rectangle in pop culture. It promises proof without context and certainty without nuance. Freeze a frame from 5 years ago. Freeze a frame from last week. Circle 2 pixels, add an arrow, add a number, add a whisper, algorithm unlocked. That structure doesn't require evidence, it requires a vibe. It doesn't require a pattern, it requires a pattern we can imagine. You watch a 10-second clip, and your brain writes a 3-year timeline. You read a caption, and your brain builds a bank statement. It's human. It's also how false stories travel faster than true ones. If you've ever wondered why the most dramatic claims always arrive with the fewest receipts, here's why. Details are risky. They can be checked. Dates are dangerous. They can be cross-referenced. Names can be called. Clinics can be asked. Paper can be subpoenaed. So rumors live where screenshots don't go. They thrive in phrasing that sounds precise but means nothing. A separate account, a private line item, a VIP package. It's atmospheric. It's smoky. It's just specific enough to feel real and just vague enough to avoid getting pinned down. The smarter strategy in that fog is to ask simple questions. When? Where? Who? How often? If those answers never get clearer, you don't have a scandal. You have a storyboard's worth of assumptions. Here's something else the rumor ignores because it ruins the plot: capability and agency. However you feel about anyone in this story, it's obvious the resume doesn't fit into a makeover meme. Aviation isn't a filter. Spaceflight isn't a ring light. Leadership on big stage projects doesn't depend on cheekbones. If the entire narrative hangs on the idea that image is the only power in the room, it will collapse the second you look at what gets built when cameras leave. That part never trends because it doesn't spark a brawl in the comments. But it matters when you're measuring what actually breaks a relationship and what's just social media shadow puppets. Now, let's do the hard part. Assume, for argument's sake, that the 2.3 million number is perfectly accurate. No inflation. No noise? Just a cold total over a handful of years. Does the price tag itself prove the motive? No. Does it prove deception? No. Does it prove a breakup? Still no. It proves access and priorities. Glam, upkeep, presentation, privacy. It proves a commitment to a certain kind of image maintenance that is, like it or not, standard operating procedure in the rare air economy. In other words, the number is loud. The number is not the story. The story is always about the choices, the timelines, the impact on trust, the way people treat each other when the mirror's off and the mics are cut. None of that fits on a spreadsheet. But numbers do magic tricks. Call a relationship a $200 million marriage, and the mind starts pricing every gesture like a stock. Smile equals bullish. Distance equals bearish. A dress becomes an indicator. A haircut becomes a sell-off. The audience shifts from witnesses to analysts. Suddenly, you're not watching two humans figure out the next decade. You're chart reading. The rumor banks on that shift. It wants you to believe every decision is transactional and every alteration is a signal. The second you accept that frame, the rumor already won, because the only ending it allows is collapse. And collapse makes great thumbnails. Quick zoom on psychology without playing pretend doctor. Perfection pressure is real. So is scrutiny fatigue. So is the way public women, especially, get audited down to the pore no matter what they do. If you change, you're accused of faking. If you don't change, you're accused of letting yourself go. If you talk about it, you're attention-seeking. If you don't, you're hiding. The only way to win is to not play, and not playing is impossible when every outing is content. This isn't an excuse for anything. It's a reminder that the system is designed to produce the exact chatter that powers this rumor mill. Judging the person while ignoring the machine is like judging a swimmer and ignoring the current. Let's address the secret account theory because it's the rumor's favorite spice. Does private spending exist at that level? Of course. Do people ring-fence certain expenses for privacy? Obviously. But accounts don't prove intent, and privacy doesn't equal betrayal. In relationships where the stakes are high, it's normal to structure life with layers: legal, financial, logistical. That can be healthy or toxic depending on how it's done. If the rumor can't show a pattern of deception, dates, messages, conflicts, consequences, it's trying to sell you a bank term as if it were a smoking gun. Your job as a smart viewer is to feel the difference between a setup that sounds incriminating and evidence that actually is. We should also talk about how these narratives keep escalating. The first wave says, maybe. The second wave says, definitely. The third wave says, this destroyed everything. Each wave is a remix of the last with more certainty and less caution, because certainty goes viral and caution doesn't. By the fourth wave, people are fighting in the comments about numbers nobody can verify, and the couple at the center becomes a prop for our own beliefs about wealth, beauty, status, and what love is supposed to look like when it's pitched at movie scale. If you've ever felt weird after sharing a spicy rumor, that's why. You're not just passing information. You're endorsing a world where strangers' faces are public property and strangers' relationships are fair game for forensic theater. I'm not asking you to be naive. Power invites spin. Luxury invites secrecy. Fame invites performance. If you told me there was a calendar of beauty maintenance at the top, I'd say no shot. That's not scandal, that's infrastructure. The only interesting question is whether those choices hurt someone. And if they did, how we would know. What text would show it? What timeline would prove it? What action would confirm it? If the answers never get past trust me, you're looking at smoke machines, not smoke. Now back to the mission, from the hook. Follow money against the calendar. When you stack the rumor's alleged spend against the visible milestones, the alleged implosion doesn't timestamp cleanly. Big public commitments don't happen in the middle of fatal private collapse unless you're arguing everyone involved is playing a long con theater piece. Could that happen? Theoretically, yes. Is it the likeliest reading? Not even close. People with that much to lose don't roll the dice on a fake happy arc that's about to detonate. They slow roll the distance, they avoid hard dates, they blame schedules, they soft exit. That's how slow burn endings usually look. if you aren't seeing that pattern. The story you've been sold is probably the story that sells best, not the story that fits the facts best. There's also something quietly cruel about insisting a woman's face explains a couple's fate. It makes her the cause and him the judge, like beauty is an invoice and love is an audit. Real relationships end or thrive for 1,000 reasons that never make the explore page. Workload, values, family, health, purpose, tying. In the real world, image is one sphere among many, not the sun around which everything orbits. Tying everything to a number in a rumor lets us avoid the messier, more human possibility that people choose each other and keep choosing or stop choosing for reasons that are boring to watch but true to life. So where do we land? Here, the 2.3 million claim makes for a great hook and a weak case. It's loud, but it's light. The calendar doesn't carry the weight the rumor asks it to carry. The motive theory compresses complex lives into a single cartoon panel, and the audience gets seduced by the thrill of finally knowing the real story, even when what we're being sold is just the most cinematic explanation available. If you still love the rumor, that's okay. Stories that fit our fears feel safer than stories that admit uncertainty. But if you came here for the truth, here's the honest version. Transformations, real or rumored, don't prove betrayal. Private spending doesn't prove collapse. Headlines don't prove heartbreak. The only thing that proves any of that is hard evidence and time. And rumor mills hate both. I'll leave you with one final thought. Every time we share a story like this, we vote for the world we want to live in. If we vote for spectacle, we'll get more spectacles. If we vote for dates, receipts, and empathy, we'll get fewer outrage roller coasters and fewer people treated like props. You clicked for the rumor. You stayed for the test. If this breakdown changed the way you read the next breathless headline, mission accomplished. And if you're still on the fence, rewind, watch the calendar again, and ask the only question that actually matters. When the money meets the dates, does the story stand up, or does it just look good in a thumbnail? Keep your eyes open, keep your standards high, and remember, numbers are loud, but timelines don't lie.